Beautiful morning once again to all of you. My name is Asiodua Akomia. I am here with Razak Musbao. Yes, Zach. It's a wonderful morning, and it's time for us to not only find out what the newspapers are reporting this morning, but to also delve into one of the most trending issues here in Ghana, and that is in relation to the whole flag bearership race of the New Patriotic Party.
Musa Dankwa is shaking tables in the camp of... he's shaking tables. He's making people rethink their ambitions.
You know, I always say this, that what you look at on the outside may not be it. What is most important is what goes on within. So if you try to find out what goes on, what is going on within, then you can be certain that what you're most probably assuming could be right or wrong. All we've been doing is just looking at things on the outside. That's all we've been doing. And so...
No, don't move on. What you just said is
that's what we've been doing, basically.
No, you've just gone... You are sounding like these Greek philosophers. I'm telling you.
Because you know, after seeing and analyzing the global info analytics...
even before you come research, there, like that philosophical submission you made, what you see on the inside... is what you see on the outside is not necessarily what is on the inside. Keep going on that tangent a bit. For like 30 seconds.
I don't know what Zach is trying to look for, but that is
powerful.
The truth.
Yeah, it's powerful.
That is the truth.
Yeah, it's powerful.
What people, I always say, one other thing to that I say is that people will let you see what they want you to see. So they choose to let you see. So I choose to let you see how beautiful I can look every single morning on Prime Morning. But what is going on within me or what is going on in my home, I can't bring that out.
Awesome.
So you can't look at my appearance, or you can't look at what I could possibly be posting on social media and assume that that is how my life is, or that is how my family in general, you know. And so
I think it's even dovetails into the message on fellow Ghanaians today. You know, what Kwame Asah-Asante was talking about, the challenges many young people are going through. And he touched on quite a number of issues. And I was just saying that I'm going to recap just a quote from his presentation. And he made a very profound point, and I think most young people can relate to it. He says that, and I quote, "Many postpone marriage not because they do not desire companionship, but because they cannot afford it. They postpone having children not because they do not want to, but because they cannot raise them. They postpone dreams of homes, cars, and travel because even their basic rent is a nightmare. What we are breeding is not just unemployment. We are breeding disillusionment, depression, and distrust in the state." It's incredible. And he painted a beautiful picture of the impact of unemployment and low income in the lives of many young people. And just look at this line. He said, unemployment has made 2,500 cities' salaries look like pocket money. You can't even marry with it.
Of course.
It's incredible.
It's wild.
What many people, young people, are going through in this country is like we don't seem to appreciate it really well. We don't seem to fully appreciate the pain and the suffering that many young people are going through. And sometimes I think we are just sugarcoating some of the policies we are doing. It's incredible. People are really going through a lot. And the young people who went to mass up at Yoko head office yesterday, you see, some of them think they don't have any job. Yes, some of them genuinely don't have any job. But the music of Shatta Wale is what keeps them going. Is what keeps them going. Is what sustains them. Is what keeps them having a certain hope to keep living. Because they don't have it. They don't have the income. They can't afford basic life. Yes, if they had a job in the bank, they wouldn't mass up there. But Shatta Wale is providing music that inspires, that hopes, that keeps them alive. So when we are sitting on is a time bomb, but we've said it many times.
And speaking in relation to Shatta Wale, oh, by the way, we have to acknowledge the presence of our guest. Musa Dankwa is on Zoom, who has joined us this morning. He's the Executive Director for Global Info Analytics. He's also the Head of Research about that. Good morning to you. Hope you're well. Musa Damka, please, I hope you can hear me. Please unmute. Okay, so joining us also on Zoom is Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante. Musa, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Good morning.
Okay,
wonderful.
Good morning to you. Hope you're well.
Doing great. Thank you.
Well, you are currently shaking tables, with the polls that you've brought out, the statistics and all that.
And if I can just highlight some of it, then we can. Okay.
Mr. Kwame Asah-Asante, who is a political scientist at the University of Ghana, has also joined us on Zoom. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Hope you're well.
Very well.
All right.
And yourself?
Oh, we're doing awesomely well, and we are glad that you've joined us this morning.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, wonderful. So the Global Info Analytics yesterday released their latest poll on the NPP. Now, quite a number of issues were touched. Among them, we understand they at least interact with some 2,500 delegate, almost 2,500, in excess of 2,000 delegate. Now, one of the, findings, or one of the questions they were exploring was, one, should there be wholesale leadership change in the NPP leadership?
And the
wholesale
answer,
leadership. All right, wholesale change in the NPP leadership, talking about the national executives. Now, you had 30% of people agreeing to that, and then you had 48% disagreeing and 22% staying neutral. So if you add those who agree and those who are neutral, that's about 52%. So 52% people, you can say, appear, okay, their position is not too clear, but you have a whopping 48% who say no, who are very, very blank about it. Then they proceed to ask questions about the General Secretary race. The General Secretary race. That was another question they were exploring. And we've seen quite a number of people who have expressed interest in the office of the General Secretary. The sitting General Secretary, Justin Frimpong Kodia, has indicated he wants to run again. And 44% of the respondents said they will vote for him. All right, they will vote for him. Then you have Dr. Charles Dramina, who has also shown interest. He had 2%. And you had Sylvester Tete, the former MP for Botiano, also garnering 3%. Then you have one of the individuals who have also shown strong interest, Mr. Honorable Eugene Enchi, the former Member of Parliament. He garnered 4%. Then Mr. Isaac Isiama, the former Youth and Sports Minister and former Member of Parliament, also garnered 3%. Then Henry Kokofu, whom we had during the Dade Lumba, demise, we had that conversation, is the former boss of EPA. He also garnered 6%. Then you had others also garnering 2%, and about 36% of the people were undecided. So as far as the General Secretary race is concerned, you had Justin Frimpong Kodia, the sitting General Secretary, leading the race in that regard. Then another race is the chairmanship race. And we know that Honorable John Wedu has expressed interest. He's made that very clear. Now, he garnered 32%. Then you have Chairman Wuntumi Enchi-Bosiako. He has also expressed interest in becoming the national chairman of the New Patriotic Party. He garnered Enchi-Bosiako. He garnered 23%. Then you had Mr. Asamoah Boateng, who has also expressed interest, garnering 6%. Mr. Kwesi Amwako-Atta, the former roads minister, 2%. Mr. Edward Boateng, 2%. And others also 1%. But at least 34% of the people say they are undecided. And I think that's significant. That is really significant. All right. Then you have the presidential primaries also in there. And of course, this is the biggest of them all. It will happen in January. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is leading that race. And based on the recent polls by Info Global Analytics, Dr. Bawumia is leading the race with 52%. 52% of the delegates that were interacted with says they want Bawumia to lead the party. Now, Kennedy Japon is following closely with 17% of the vote. And you have Dr. Brian Echampong with 3%. And you have Honorable Yao Osei Edichum, 1%. Mr. Kwame Japon didn't get any. Likewise, Mr. Boachi Ejako and even Honorable Adai Nimo. But again, significantly, you have 18% of the the respondents, the delegates saying they are undecided. They are undecided. Now, what if you narrow it down to Dr. Bawumia and Honorable Kennedy Japon? Just these two. If these two were the only candidates, this is what the delegate said based on the findings by Honorable Musa Dankwa. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia still retains the lead with 53%, and Honorable Kennedy Japon comes second with 18%. Also, significantly, you have 18% of the people saying they are undecided. And I think that is still significant. And about 10% of them also did not disclose. They were unwilling to tell us. But the bigger question is whether these delegates believe that MPP can win the 2028 elections. That's the bigger question. And of course, inevitably, you had 93% of the delegate affirming that they are confident MPP will win the elections, and just 5% saying no, and 2% of them saying they have no opinion. So these are the major findings from the, recent research that Musa Dankwa conducted. And fortunately, we have him on Zoom now. I said, well, we have him on Zoom, right?
Yes, we do. Yeah,
Great.
We do have Musa Dankwa on Zoom. And so I urge you to please, viewers, if you have any questions, any contributions that you want to make in relation to this, what do you think? I wish that we could project it so that our viewers can have, can actually see exactly what the Global Info Analytics has brought out in relation to these polls, and it will make them better, make you better understand what really is going on. And so good morning to you once again, Musa.
Good morning.
All right. Okay. So now take us deeper into this whole analysis and how exactly everything looks like after the research or after you brought out these demographics in relation to this.
All right. Thank you very much for having me. We've been doing the leadership race among general voters.
Yeah.
Looking at the views of Ghanaians in general, and then zooming down to MPP voters in particular over the months.
Yeah.
This is the first time we zoom into the delegates who are actually required to vote to select the flag bearer for MPP. So really, we were looking to see whether there is a vast difference between the general MPP voters and those of the delegates. In fact, if you looked at the July poll, among MPP voters, 70% of them prefer Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and 17% prefer Kennedy. If you just suppose that with the current findings, you could see that Kennedy is almost at the exact position as the general voters, among MPP voters, compared to the July poll. However, Bawumia is far less, on 52 now, among delegates, compared to 70% among general MPP voters. So you could see that among the delegate, the race may be quite tighter than we expected to be.
This is wild.
Yeah, this is wild. And one of the things that I've been running through my mind is just curious about how you managed to get in touch with this delegate, because I can imagine how much of work you had to undertake to get in touch with them. How did you get in touch with them, Mr. Dankwa?
We actually have contact numbers of all the polling station executives from the MPP on our system, all of them, about 210,000 or so, their telephone numbers and all the constituencies they come from, we have that on that system. So we have created a random system that calls these people randomly, but we allocate the sample to each of the regions so that we don't oversample or undersample in a particular region. So the calls were made particularly to these people, and we spoke to them. 2,500 of them were spoken to across 263 constituencies out of the 276.
I mean, that's really interesting. And maybe now we can bring Dr. Asah in. Dr. Asah, just your quick reactions to this latest findings by Info Global Analytics?
Yeah, I think thanks for the opportunity. Looking at it, it makes interesting reading and analysis. I commend Mr. Dankwa. It's a difficult job, but he has taxed himself to do it. If you look at it, I'll start from the top, General Secretary and a host of them. The figures are interesting. If you look at the General Secretary race, I have no doubt in my mind that there are strong candidates in, even though I need to concede that there are a few of them, I don't know them closely. But if you look at JFK, yes, he has led the party as a General Secretary, but into opposition. It's a worrying sign. If you are a General Secretary, you are the anchor of the party. Of course, he's not the one who voted. His vote is only one.
Yeah.
But you need to have connection with every nook and cranny who matters within the party. If you look at the magnitude of defeat that the MPP suffered, something went wrong.
But is it not more? Yeah, but is it not more of what happened in government than what happened while he was General Secretary? It's more of because if there, at least some of the research is anything to go by.
I agree.
Yeah,
it will be far-fetched for me to place the loss at the doorstep of him. Totally wrong. But what I am saying, because there are factors that really push the party out of power, which I know. But if you look at it strongly, you realize that at the base, you need organization, you need coordination and all that. And when you lose so much, remember all comes from the constituency. And once you lose so much, the whole idea is that coordination, organization and all, there was something wrong. Because elections, when messages are developed or strategies are developed, there are ones that we place at the national level, at the regional level, and the constituency level. Who is that bridge or that channel through which they channel all their ideas and all through the party? Is the General Secretary. So there's a lot that was required on his part to do, even though I acknowledge that he played his role. But once you sit in as a General Secretary and the party moves to opposition, you cannot, some of the burdens will rob off you, and that is what is robbing off him. That is not to say that he has also not done some great things within the party, which I acknowledge that he has, but that problem is also there. I can tell you that when the contest begins, you will see that people will rub this thing in and then come and confront him on that. But I have no doubt in my mind that he has also paid his dues. Let me look at interesting name, some of the names there. Kokofu
Henry
is a great guy. It's a great guy. If you look at him, you have watched him from all his endeavors within the party. I have no doubt in my mind that he can be a very fine gentleman to, compete very well. He has what it takes. He has the persona. He has the drive. He has the gravitas. And above all, he's in touch with the nook and cranny of the party. He is such a leader. And I believe that even though what is called is something low, I can see from where I sit that he can also come in and perform a lot of miracle in there. The others, I will not comment so much because I am still looking at how effective they can be and all that. I need to know them closely. Okay. But let me come to the chairmanship race. Very interesting figures there. John Buedu, no doubt that he has also worked hard for the MPP and for them to win power in 2016. Did a great job. Unfortunately, he lost out in his rebid for the position. He was thrown out, normal, for JFK to come in. So he has a lot, very experienced, well-known, and he's in touch with every aspect of the party. And at a point in time, he was virtually the face of the party. I have no doubt that race is going to be tough. Woon, to me, has also done so well in Ashanti region, and he's been able to marshal a lot of forces, especially in 2020 and all that. But if you look at the abysmal performance of the party relative to even Ashanti region, for NDC to be able to get into that stronghold and have about, I think, 5 and so candidates, there are question marks there. That is not to say that he is not a great leader.
Doc,
he has.
Doc, can you please hold on for me and let's go back to John Boydru. So when he stood again to be voted for as a general secretary, he did lose. And then now he is vying, or not he vying, but then within the NPP, the delegates are hoping that he would end up becoming the chairman. And so what do you think between he losing as a general secretary and then now they are hoping that he becomes a chairman? What do you think is that gray line between it that could have validated or that could have influenced that change of position or change of mind or push for him?
The general secretary race that he lost,
right?
You and I are alive to the factors that push him out. And I'm not here to discuss all of them. But you realize that the establishment candidate against other interests and the rest of them. Now, there is no establishment body within the party to even establish a candidate. So the floor is now what? The plane is equal for all of them to contest. Right. And this is where I believe that his strength will come in. Okay. Because remember that had it not been those factors that push him out, he was going to be a very strong candidate. But that aside, you realize that he's been able to, take the party. Look at the crisis they were in, and they brought him in. And then through that, he fought, and then won against a ruling government. That is not to say that he was the one who actually won the power for them in 2016. No. But the general secretary, you have a lot, and you realize that all counted, and that cannot be taken away. In fact, that cannot be wished away at all. Okay. It's going to be brought to bear on this issue, and you are going to see who is who here. And that is why I am saying that he is going to contest strongly, because he has a lot of credentials and all that. He's one of the leaders that the rank and file gravitate towards for a lot of things. And I know that for a fact. I know that from where I sit. Okay. If you look at Woon, to me, he has been a fine gentleman for the cause of the party. But I see more of a strength as a regional-based, political figure. He did so well at the regional level to get a party to win power and all that. But if you look at the magnitude of defeat, and if you even narrow it down to Ashanti region where he was the champion at the time, you realize that there is more. Was it the case that his powers were dwindling, as it were, or he lost touch of the issue that confronts the people there? But normally, you always realize that at the local level, the local issues, once you lose touch, you are going to create a problem for. Remember also that once you win 30, NDC is able to garner about 30% and beyond, they win the presidential election in Ashanti region. So that calls for a lot of forensics within the body politics relative to what electoral choices. And that is going to be albatross hanging around his neck. I have no doubt in my mind about that. As a B, even though you see small figures a small figure places in his name in terms of his. I can say that he is a force to reckon with. If you know Asabi and know him very well, trace his background from where the party was in opposition, his contribution towards the party. Then he came in under Kufuor, and then fantastic, working very well, and then to push the party to all the frontiers you can think of. And then even under Nana Akufo-Addo, right, he was also given the position of SIGA, heading SIGA and all that.
Yeah.
Asabi is one of the leaders that you must watch. He is somebody that also the rank and file relate to all the time. And he's very much experienced. He has a strategy, and above all, he's also eloquent to be able to articulate his views clearly. I have no doubt from my mind.
Doc, are you surprised? Doc, are you surprised that he is vying for the chairmanship position this time around? Because we know in the past he had even had an eye for the flag bearer position.
There is always one justice says that is only, pardon me for this expression, only a fool who has no mind to change. He has a mind, and he has changed it at the right time. He tested the waters there, and the forces at the time, he could not survive it. And politically, you can win power when you have three things, what I call RSM, your resource, your strategy, your message. And now I can tell you that he has garnered all, and he wants to contest. And the strategy is that let me move away from where I suffered great defeat, and I've tested the waters, and I think I'll be best suited for this. Why not? I know it's going to be a very interesting contest.
And
the former minister, Honorable Amakwata, very interesting personality. Very dedicated to his party. When he was in government, he was all over, Remember, there's one thing about politics of infrastructure. It's critical in this country. And he was the man in charge of what? Infrastructure development, roads and all that. But if you look at the fact that Asante Region Road continued to be what it is now, Mr. Amakwata will obviously have a challenge there, I can assure you. I mean, even though I know he's a very strong candidate, very loyal person, hardworking, he's very, very hardworking. But Ashantis will not forgive him for the state of road that they have here. I can tell you. And other places too. If you go to Western region and all those places, even though government was able to do a number of them, but one of the things that worked against the government was the issue of infrastructure. It dovetails into national politics. In fact, it's the second variable that influenced voter choices, infrastructure development. So if you had a role to play and they did not see much, you are going to pay dearly for him. I'm sorry that the man is a big man. The man is very, very solid. He has all that. But there are some of the weaknesses that will come to, play.
And Doc, let's come to the flag bearer position there.
Yes.
Bawumia is still leading the race.
Of the matter.
Yeah.
There I have a little challenge with the study, and that's where I'll come to Mr. Dankwa. If you look at Bawumia, I have no doubt in my mind he is such a great leader. There are politics about it. People say all manner of negative things about him. Kwame Asah-Asante, I differ. He's solid, he knows the stuff and all that. Except that he was caught in a certain, quagmire within Nanado's administration. And there, he lacked the courage to step out. He remained in, and all the burdens of the government continued to rob off him. Simply because of the position he held as a chairman of economic management team, and the economy, we saw it, the first tenure, beautiful, worked well, and he took all the credits. When we went to the second one, we saw a dip, a serious one, and he ran away from that responsibility. And I was expecting him to resign because he is a fine gentleman and somebody who has what it takes to be able to lead his party. But that becomes a blot on the minds of those who have the power to vote, I can tell you.
But Doc, realistically Doc, just on the point about him, you were expecting him to resign. I mean, that would have been chaotic even for his political career, and especially if you wanted to contest on the ticket of MPP. It's a question of loyalty. When things are getting tough, you decide to jump out of the boat. Who should... I mean, when it's tough, you stay in there, just like when it is rosy and we all enjoy. When it's tough, you stay in there. Questions about his loyalty would have come up.
What you're saying is theoretical. In practical sense, I was in the government. I advised they would not take. There are a lot of advices that he gave from where I said I know, and were thrown into the dogs. All right. So on that score, you stand on it and resign. I tell you, you become a toast of many when you show yourself up. I'll give you an example. President Kufuor was part of the PNDC government, and he saw the focus and direction of the government and said that, look, I will not take this. Let me bow out. He moved away from PNDC. And then when the new order came in and he was given opportunity to contest, he brought the party to a victory from 1969. That is a leadership. This one, my colleague and my former vice president couldn't take that. And it's going to be what? A big albatross around his neck.
But what do you think about the moment, during the campaign where he constantly was talking about some of the implementations that he and former president or his government had put in place, like, oh, when I come into power, I'm going to take away e-levy, I'm going to do this. Meanwhile, when he was in power, I mean, when he was vice president and with another Dr. Akufo-Addo, they implemented all these. I want to know exactly how that made you feel when he was standing before Ghanaians and was saying that I'm going to take away all these things that me and this man who was my president or who was my boss implemented.
I mean, he was showing dissent there, Doc. He was showing that these were things that I didn't agree with.
Agree to.
It's not, you need to walk the talk. You need to, from where I said, there are a lot that he gave his personal advice. They didn't take that. That I know. But I tell you that is the point at which he should have resigned. Because today, how can he convince anybody that giving all his credentials and what he knows, and which I know that he's very, very good, and that the economy remained what it was, and then that led them to what? Losing power. How can he explain that? Look at his lectures, economic lectures, fantastic, that he endeared himself to the heart of many with his economic analysis and figures and was given opportunity. Everybody thought that this is a new Adam Smith that we are seeing, and come on, give him opportunity. Events took a different turn. We saw something different. So you ask yourself, what was the meaning of the disconnect? That somebody that we saw him this and given opportunity, something went amiss and he could not fix that. That remains what? A blot on his record. And that will be. And why I said I have a difficulty with the study is that not to cast any doubt on the study, but my difficulty with Bawumia's figure is that what has he put in place in the system for him to turn a new leaf, I may put it that way, for the party foot soldiers, the party, the loyalists and all those who matter in the party to gain this margin. And that, because we are just 7 months away from, or maybe 8 months away from election, what has he put in place to turn the minds of people to know that Dr. Bawumia now is the best for the party, and that we want to give him the nod to go? Because as far as I am concerned, maybe there is something, because I'm not a member of any party, I will not know.
Well, Doc,
I don't know what significant policy he has introduced.
So, Doc,
something that he has been able to do to cause a change within the party and within the minds of people, that the sense, in quotes, of what 2024 election, they have soon forgotten and they believe that he is good to go.
So Doc, just fundamentally, you mean you are surprised that he is still this popular, based on the research, he's still this popular, he is still wanted, even after the performance he registered in the elections. You're surprised that he's still wanted? this much.
Yeah, I am dead surprised. Dead surprised. I know he's good. I've said all his strength and all that. I have no doubt in my mind. But I'm dead surprised that he gets this figure. Because where are those people who are saying this? Where were they?
Okay, so at this point, I want Musa to come in and address
let me land. When were they when the 2024 election were held? Why were they, according to their report, which Dr. Bawumia also gave a portion to us to consume, that there are people who didn't go there to vote when they have brought them into office with a 1 million vote, and that now he's the guy leading with all the credentials. Apart from all that I've said, he's the guy leading that he's broke the jinx that this is an Akan party. Now you have what, a Nodna? This is a party led by Christian. Now you have a Muslim. All the fine qualities in here. So what happened? So what happened? What has changed? And then people decided we have given you 1 million vote lead. We are not even going to vote in Ashanti region. Is it not a protest against him? And what has he done to change all the thinking, the minds of people, all the problem? And he has turned a new leaf for them. Surprising.
Okay, yeah. I want Musa Dagba to come in on this one. Exactly what went into, what questions exactly were asked that resulted.
So let me tackle from this point.
Okay.
Doc says if he finds it difficult to understand or he has a challenge.
Yeah.
What we don't do any extrapolation or manipulation of numbers to present what we have presented.
Okay.
But let's go back to the demography of MPP delegates. These are not Ghanaians, these are delegates. People with self-interest. The demography of MPP delegates shows that over nearly 70% of them are above the age of 45 years.
Yeah.
70% of MPP delegates are 45 years and above. Secondly, if we go back to the question we asked them, do you believe in the wholesale changes in the leadership of the party? 48% said no. That is a clue to tell you that they don't want the system to change.
Okay.
Whether Bawumia has turned himself, whatever it is, they don't really care. They are saying they want the system to maintain the current executives. That is a clue. And if you look at the educational profile of these delegates, so these are not people who can or who are able to engage in intellectual debate. So all Prof. Doc is saying is intellectual. Let's look at the demographic of MPP delegates by education.
Yes.
Nearly 55% of them, in fact, 45% have junior high education, or what they call old science 7, old system. So these guys are older.
Yeah.
And 8% have no formal education. So when you combine these two, they are not engaging in intellectual analysis of the kind that Doc is making. And these are the people who are making the decisions, not we the intellectuals.
Okay, at this point, I wish that we could project.
Yeah, don't seem to be.
Even though my friend Mr. Dankwa has explained, but it's not satisfactory. Why am I saying that? He's saying that when you look at the people, the middle school living certificate holders, about 45%. And then those with non-formal education, 8%.
Yeah.
So all that he's saying that more than 50% of the people are people that, in terms of education, they have not gone far. Look, we are not talking about education here. Parties, if you read Dan's theory, it's a people vote for the benefit that they get from what they are voting. Are you with me? They are rational and they know. Forget about education. These are the people who voted the party or have been voting the party into power. They don't consider, they consider what? Bread and butter issue. Because in Ghana, what influence voters number one is bread and butter. Any other consideration is secondary.
Doc,
they know what they want.
Doc, don't you
Are we saying that they will not know what they want simply because they are not educated? No, we can say that.
Doc, don't you think a number of these delegates are not necessarily putting the blame on Bawumia and possibly with the former president himself? They feel that maybe, like you say, Bawumia had his opinions about some of the things that were done in government. They were not necessarily adopted. And maybe they have empathized with him on that level and feel that if he comes some of the ideas he truly wanted to implement, he will implement them. Don't you think maybe that's a thinking
Let me counter that argument for you. There are also those who believe that, look, the playing field was not equal. Bawumia was seen at that primaries as what? The establishment candidate. And the party uses machinery to bulldoze his way through and all that. I am not saying that because I saw the election and then he went squarely and fairly and all that. But those in the party will tell you this. How do you reconcile that one with it? All that I'm saying is that if all these people existed in the party and they were, look, people were desperately looking for power, they would have buried all differences and voted massively for Bawumia. Instead, they decided to shy away. In their droves.
But we are talking about now. We are talking about now at this point.
Yes, I'm coming.
Yeah, now.
I'm coming.
And they are still showing support for him.
History is nothing but what? A dialogue between the present and the past. The past has bearing on the future. And that's what I'm telling you. What has changed? All right. Now that they are even out of power, what is it that they are going to do to be able to what? Get these people back and all that. So if the delegates are saying this, then it's contradictory in my mind. But of course, I respect everybody's opinion, but I tell you that, yes, I know Bawumia is a fine candidate. He has all the strength and all that. But this figure on him from the delegate, it still lingers in my mind as what? Something of a concern to me.
Interesting. Mr. Dankwa, let me bring you back in here. Yeah, let me bring you back in here because, when you look at, as you mentioned, your earlier research among the entire MPP faithfuls, Bawumia is still leading. You narrow down to the delegates and it's still leading. Often the perception was that maybe he's just popular among the delegates. And if you look at the conversations from the camp of Kennedy Japan, that appears to be the narrative, that they are the grassroots people. But your earlier research, if you want to call it was more of a grassroots research. And this is among the delegates. And among these categories of individuals, it's still popular. Is it a case that maybe the MPP faithfuls are not so convinced by the options available, hence why they are leaning towards Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia?
Right. Before I come to that question, we must put in focus that delegates don't vote by their pocket. Delegates are not you and I. So we don't expect the behavior of delegates to be similar to that of the general voters in this country when it comes to delegates. Let's make that clear. They don't vote by their pocket. We know they take money and vote. That's not a secret. Voters don't take money to vote. You can pay us. So that issue is there. Now, if you look at Bawumia, look, MPP is a conservative party. If you look at the age profile, see, always look at the demography. You will understand the numbers better when you look at demography. 45 years and above are the people who are making the decisions. These are people who are conservatives, who, when we speak to them, they tell us on telephone, oh, we know him from time, so let's maintain him. This is what they are telling us. They're not making any excuses for economic performance. No. When you speak to MPP delegates over the phone, they tell you that we've known him for a while. If he's on the ballot, it's easy to sell him and market him. That is the reason they are giving. And in fact, if you look at the argument Bawumia and his team have made in the months prior, it is the same tangent they've taken. And that's what these guys have bought into. For them to have an open mind, there must be the two camps, the other camps, must make sure that they have a way of swaying them to believe that, look, there need to be changes. At the moment, they don't believe so. And these are the people who are going to elect. Look, I work with numbers. If I don't have the numbers, I don't speak about those things. I don't create, speculation without backing numbers. We stick to the numbers. When the numbers are telling us this is what they are doing, we think about it. Whether we agree or not, that's not for me as a poster.
But let's talk briefly about the question I asked you earlier. Do you get the sense that the options available, and Doc, I'll come to you to get your take on that also. Do you think that maybe the delegates are just not convinced that the other options available cannot guarantee them a victory in the 2028 election, especially when they are this confident, 93%, that they will win the elections in 2028?
No, if you look at the list that we have, only a few persons are absent from the list. Boache Jaku, I think he's even there. Patrick Bawumia. So who in NPP is missing from the list? Maybe NPP has not developed that options that have kind of multiple options for people to really say that, oh, this guy is strong enough, this guy is strong enough. They haven't gotten that yet. So you leave these two candidates, Kennedy and Bawumia, as the obvious front runners at the moment. Then you see Ichum trying to make an inroad, Dr. Parachampo trying to make their impact felt. But you see, these are new entrants to the race. And MPP current delegates are not dynamic. They are not young. They are not looking at the younger people. They are kind of older generation who find it very difficult to change their mind. And that is the problem. Demography will always tell you the story. Demography is where the story is. And at the moment, the current album doesn't suit dramatic change in the party. It favors continuity, and that is what could make it easy for Bawumia to win.
Interesting. Doc, you want to come in here, Senor?
You know, it's very interesting.
Doc, I mean, you look at the other candidates in the race. Kennedy Japan, 17%, Brian Champo, 3%, Honorable Osei Duchum, 1%. And I'm getting the sense that just maybe, Bawumia is still, what do you call it, winning on the popularity that he managed to garner during the elections. And again, just maybe, these other candidates are now gathering momentum. We have some time to go before the elections in January. And just maybe, in some 3 months, this data might change. Do you get that sentiment?
Yeah, that sentiment, what you are saying, could be possible. It's probable. All right. But let me also move back to respond to Mr. Dankwa. The conversation becomes interesting. He talks about the fact that those in that voting bracket, are people who are conservative, old people, and all that. But he mentioned 45 years. I don't know whether 45 years is so old enough. But he mentioned that 45 and above. But that they don't take money, they don't look at the economy. Look, if you are going to have delegates who will not look at factors that influence voter choices nationally and put that one side by side with what they are looking for within their party, then they are going to have a real problem. Because at the end of the day, when you vote for that candidate, he's not going to preside over the issues concerning the MPP. No, he's going to be sold to the public at the national level. So you look at that one alongside with your party interests, bearing in mind that ultimately you'll be at the national issue. So they want to look for somebody who will be able to address their economic issues. They want to look at somebody who will be able to deal with their infrastructure issues, deal with corruption, unemployment, and then the record of the party and all that. So that comes in mind. It says that people take money, all right? I mean, those people in that bracket, they take money and they vote. It is true, money influence to some extent, but not everybody. There are a number of people who vote. And if money is anything to go by, President Kufuor wouldn't have won the primaries at all, because at that time, he did not have the financial muscle. But they knew that he was the obvious candidate. Apart from when they moved away from 1969, he was the most, sellable candidate that will be able to do the battle from them. And remember, we select people not based on the fact that, look, you have the ability to dole out money and all that. If that is the case, that people who have money, then the richest people have won the election all the time. But we have seen people who are not rich and still winning and making amends. So it calls for us to do some introspection.
Then with the results that Bawumia is getting at the moment, shouldn't really surprise you that much as compared to what the others are getting.
Now the surprise is that maybe we are losing sight of the fact that this is a party that suffered heavy defeat in the hands of Dr. Bawumia. And in no time, the same party, some of them decided they will not go and even vote at all. That is enough. What in journalism we'll call it what? They give us broad hint as to what they perceive the candidate to be. I mean, if people cannot see beyond this, then look, they are just walking into the slaughterhouse. They need to, but that is not to what undermine Bawumia. No. Okay. I know his strength, I know what he can do, and I know him as a fantastic scholar. I have no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, but Doc, do you think, I mean, just trying to get a sense of your submission, do you think it would be suicidal for the MPP to present him in the 2028 elections?
Oh, no. No, I wouldn't come out like that. No. That is unfair. He has what it takes and all that. I'm talking about the figure. The figure is so high, but Bawumia has every quality to win any election. That one, I will stand by that.
Okay, you just think it should have. You expected it to be a bit more closer than it looks, right?
No. I am surprised about the reaction of the people who rejected him. Who rejected in the sense that they did not even go there and to vote for him. Let me bring you to an analogy in a local parlance. That somebody loves you and you die. You come to the funeral.
Oh, yeah.
At the funeral, you were not there. And only turn around and home and you were weeping and all that. Go there, the action spot. I was looking forward to these people who are saying that, hey, we are going to give him the vote. But look, let me go there and support him to win the bid because he's a candidate who is now the fine breach. The tag Akan party is gone. Bawumia is leading. The tag that, it's a Christian party, no, now you have a Muslim leading. Where from all those politics?
What if the delegates are now feeling that he wasn't given the right chance at the beginning, or the position that he held previously did not allow him to do exactly what he had in mind, how he envisioned for Ghana to be ruled or for Ghana to go. So now they think that, okay, if we push him to win the flag bearership again and hopefully become president of the country, he could end up doing exactly what he meant or what he had planned to do for Ghana.
Yeah, he's now a man. He's now a man of his own self.
Voters don't believe in try and error. They look for power. And remember, only two parties can win power in Ghana. NDC or NDC. The rest are dwarfs party. Won't go there. These are dominant parties. So when they are picking a candidate, they are looking at that despite everything, he's going to win. So if it happens like this, then there's a problem. I am not saying that Bawumia cannot win. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that the figures is what I'm worried about. That these are the same people who rejected him
and Doc,
at the national. You look at even the national level, you're saying that all manner of people voted.
Doc, Mr. Danko, I want to make an intervention very briefly. And just before he does that, I just want to pick your thoughts on this. You are surprised that the people who rejected, who decided not to go and vote in 2024 election are supporting him this much. And I'm thinking, I mean, it's been 8 months already. They've undertaken quite a number of visits to the constituencies to try and reconcile with the people. Are we not seeing the fruits of all of that reconciliation work that they have been doing in the last 8 months? Just hold your thoughts. Let me get Musa Danko's intervention.
Yes. What I want to say is that delegates did not reject Bawumia. It was Ghanaians who rejected him.
Yeah.
So we can't say the same people rejected him. The population we're looking at are delegates. These are card-bearing members of MPP, executives at all polling station levels. Their thinking isn't the same as Ghanaian voters. So we should try not to confuse those who in 2024 went to vote against him and those who are being asked to elect another leader to the MPP. The two are different groups.
Interesting. Doc,
let me come in here.
Yeah.
Let me come in here. You can't disaggregate the vote. If Ghanaians are voting, was he there to disaggregate the vote that this is from a delegate and this is from ordinary Ghanaian? Was he able to do that? Nobody can do that. So that argument is moot on his part. But let's move on. All that I'm saying that, and if you look at the delegates and all that, they represent a certain microcosm of the country. They are not coming from the moon, please. They are part and parcel of the society. And so they abuse, they have families, they have this and that, and then they all work out. But you see, the strong point is that you can't disaggregate, so you can also say it for sure that is certain. And all that I am saying.
Yeah, Doc, just back to the question.
Come in to answer your question. You talk about Dr. Bawumia visiting and doing reconciliation.
Yeah, the party itself, they've been engaged in some reconciliatory work. They've been restructuring the party. That's what they call it. Don't think they are just benefiting the fruits of it?
What is it a policy? People are talking about real policy change that will affect their lives.
But these are delegates.
So you visit, delegate, you shake hands, and then all manner of trouble happens. is that what has been the visit, the outcome of that. Now nobody even visit because of what happened the last time. So you realize that there is no real policy that has rocked or shaking the foundation of the party to be able to have people who can look at issues from a more practical perspective to say that this time around we want to go full hog for Dr. Bawumia and all that. So I still stand by that point, even though it's my view, and my views are not superior than any other views and all that. But all that I say that I find it a little interesting.
But what do you think about Kennedy Japan? You've got Kennedy Japan, the education minister, Osei Edichum, and I said, which other people have you got in there?
Brian Echampon is in there as well.
Let me come in there. Very good question. Yes, I am also surprised about the figures before them. Because if you look at Kennedy Japan, fantastic man. Yes, he has his weaknesses, which everybody has. But I tell you, he's a grassroots man. He's a party man. Look at the show against an establishment candidate the last election. Very, very, very fantastic. Fantastic performance there. So I know that he's going to put up, a very fierce battle. I have no doubt in my mind. All right. And, we trust Kennedy that he can compete. Brian Achampon, yes. Even though he is stepping in here, he's a late starter and he has served his party well and all that. His 3%, I have no problem that it reflects, it's a true reflection of what exists in there. He has the potential for the future, but for this election, he can put in his all. But I tell you, the forces are too much for him to survive it. But he's a fine gentleman. He has impeccable records. He has worked hard for his party, and he's somebody who loves MPP through and through.
Yeah.
Let's look at others. Educhum, fantastic man, great scholar. And then we saw his work at the Ministry of Education. Yes, even though we still continue to have trees on schools under trees, and that one will continue to be hit at him. He knows that. But I tell you that during his reign, we saw a lot of work. Even when he was a deputy minister, it was fantastic. He became a substantive minister. He worked well. But he is also young in the sense that he is not that known within the party. It's very recent. But I can assure you that he's one of the few future leaders of the party, if he's able to groom himself very well and all that, because he has impeccable record. He's not corrupt. He's that clean. And that he's molded in the fashion of the MPP. That I know. Then come and look at Kwame Asah-Asante. I'm surprised that he got 0. Why am I saying this? This is a man, if you talk about experience, apart from a few people within the party, I'm talking about party generally. He's the guy who knows about governance, who knows about how government runs very well. I can tell you, Kwame Asah-Asante. Look, he's been with President Kufuor by the position he held as the president's executive secretary and all that. He was privy to all manner of policy issue, direction and all that. He has a very clean record, and he's a very articulate and all that. MPP, don't forget about their history. And I'll tell you something. If you cast your mind back in the 90s or 80s, if some of you were politically alert at that time, Kwame Asah-Asante is the one who followed Nana Akufo-Addo throughout the country. You can check and then contradict me. Yeah. Very, very strong man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, very. And they were fighting against the forces at the time. You are talking about PNDC forces that are also, a party was born out of what? PNDC to become NDC and all that, became democratic and all that. It was such a very difficult terrain. But Kwame Asah-Asante was moving through with Akufo-Addo and all that. Remember, he came to lead the party as a general secretary. And look at, he was able to reach everybody. Such a fantastic man. So his figures, I believe that we will see more interesting figures as the campaign begin to roll. Well, another fantastic man and all that. Sometimes I ask myself, this quality of people, why, about 3 days ago, I had a conversation with some people on the campus with my colleagues, and we're looking at this thing. Look, the faces that show and the faces of the party rest with Kwame Asah-Asante and then I'm telling you. Okay. And look, these are people with impeccable records. These are people who walk the talk. These are people who are strong, can resist whichever regime and whichever leader, and damn the consequence. You can give it to what?
Well, Doc, Doc, we'll have to say thank you very much for your input this morning. Really appreciate it. Really. No,
before Doc goes, I have a question for him.
Okay.
But then I want us to take the final output from Musa Dankwa before he goes. Musa, if you can hear me. What would be the final submission that you want to give in relation to this?
Right.
That's the sorry. Sorry.
That's okay. The numbers are what they are.
Okay.
And at the moment, Bawumia is leading 52%. But Kennedy's numbers, we believe, are underestimated by those who are saying do not disclose. Those who are not disclosing to us openly, we believe they are Ken supporters by history of what we've seen in the past. So you could add that number to Ken. If you look at the modeling we have done, we actually triangulate and we know how they behave. We've done this work for several years. So we believe that Ken numbers are underestimated in terms of the delegates. If you look at all the discussion we are having today and the challenges some people may have the numbers, it sits at the root of the demography of the MPP delegates.
Okay.
That album is what is creating problem for MPP, as far as I am concerned. And I believe the more that demography reflects the structure of current population, the better to be for MPP. At the moment, it is completely misaligned, whereas about 75% of Ghanaian voters are below 35 years.
Okay.
About 70% of MPP delegates are about 45 years. That is the problem. That is the misalignment that needs to be corrected.
Okay. All right, Musa Dankwa, thank you so much for your time this morning. We've been speaking with Musa Dankwa, who is the head of research and executive director at Global Info Analytics. Now, coming back to you, Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante, the question that I want to ask you finally on this is that early on you were making some submissions in relation to religion, in relation to ethnicity. So what I want to say that for a very long time, the longest period with the New Patriotic Party, it's been an Akan-based sort of leadership for the New Patriotic Party. And then there was the break when, Bawumia came in. And then, it looked like the party are beginning to appreciate or are beginning to see something different when it comes to religion and ethnicity. So he getting all these number of support per what this analysis is giving from Global Info Analytics, does it not look like they wouldn't want that whole idea that they had given Ghanaians as of now when it comes to religion and ethnicity for the party? They wouldn't want it to change or go back to how it used to be, and so they would want to maintain it one way or the other.
No. When I was speaking, I was very careful. The use of religion and ethnicity. I told you the other factors move this thing. But I want to stay here. People don't know the literature, and I'm not sounding too boastful and all that. But if you read the literature about voter choices, religion, ethnicity do not play any role. The role that they play is very insignificant. Why am I saying that? Let's do a basic analysis. Look, Dr. Bawumia, before this time, MPP had not had a Muslim leading. So one would have thought that having he being a candidate at that time for the primaries, and he won. Look at how he won the primaries. Massive. Beating everybody to it in a Christian-dominated party.
That's true.
Bawumia emerged. So it tells you that the MPP people who are in there are not considering religion. They consider other factors apart from religion. Otherwise, Bawumia wouldn't have won within the MPP, which is a dominant Christian party. Let's look at Ghana. When Bawumia was leading, people were saying that he's a Muslim and that. Look, for the first time, you are getting a Muslim as a flag bearer in the Fourth Republic, and perhaps even in Ghana. And then, no, not Ghana, in the Fourth Republic. Then you have Bawumia, a Muslim leading the party. And if you look at the score, Muslims, before this time, were voting for what? Christians, because the two dominant parties have been led by Christians throughout in the Fourth Republic. The Muslims ignore that and vote, because Muslims don't vote based on religion, but they voted for a candidate who will come and further their interests. Fast forward, Bawumia becoming a leader. If that argument about religion is anything to go by, Muslims would have jumped to his candidature and all that. They rejected him. At the Zungos in the north, where Islam is very predominant, in the south here, and within his own party. So it's not the case that the Muslim who rejected him because he's a Muslim or he's not a Muslim. No, but that you're looking at other factors. It tells you that the thing that people put premium on is not religion. Let's come to ethnicity. If ethnicity is anything to go by, then you are saying that anytime you go for any election, be it primary or national, anybody who comes out as an Akan and a contestant and is a strong contestant, he will win. Because Akan is a dominant ethnic group. Yes. That argument cannot be said anywhere. We've seen Rawlings doing what? And from Aneve, who had won elections squarely and fairly. And he is what? Aneve. Ebe is the second largest ethnic group in Ghana.
Yes.
He wouldn't have won the election because he stood against Akans. He would have lost. But no, Ghanaians consider what other factors, not what ethnicity. Come and look at even we've seen also Akan standing against Akans, and they were losing elections. Let's come and look at even MPP primaries. MPP dominant Christian party or dominated by Christians, and then you have Bawumia winning. What does it tell you? It tells you that they are not looking at notness. I'm talking about ethnicity here. Because if you look at the 10 who contested the MPP primaries, 9 of them being Akans. 1 is an Asing Kennedy Japan. The rest, 8 were Ashantis. Yeah. Bawumia beat them to 8 on their own backyard. Yeah. In Ashanti region, some were getting 0 and 1. Can you imagine that?
Doc, we'll have to leave it here. Yeah, we'll have to leave it here. Thank you very much.
So the Akan tag that people are using ethnicity, it's simply because people don't know the literature, with all due respect. That the literature on voter choices, what influence voters in their deciding what should lead this country. It's about bread and butter issue. Anybody who takes the conversation to another one, another area, you don't know the literature. With respect, I submit that.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante, for your time this morning and, for breaking things down in relation to this analysis that has been brought up by Global Info Analytics.
Very interesting.
Yeah, so that was Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante, who's a political scientist at the University of Ghana. And so, Zach, we have another conversation.
Yeah, we have another conversation. It's a major one for all the nursing students in our various nursing colleges who are getting ready to write their licensure exams. A number of them, I know quite a number of nursing students. You do too, right? Yeah, quite a number of them were getting ready for these exams. And we just received the message that it has been postponed to September 4. And in fact, the plan to have them go write the exam at a specific center is been changed to them writing it in their respective schools. And we have Tony Goodman, who is the PRO of the Ministry of Health, spokesperson for the Ministry of Health, joining us to help us appreciate what went into this decision, because a lot of the nurses were getting ready for it. Tony, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
The main candidate,
thank you, my brother.
They are contesting. Kennedy Japan, Dr. Bawumia, Brian Acham.
There's another feedback in there.
Yes, we seem okay. We're going to work on it very shortly. Then we'll have you. We seem Musa Dankwa's sound is still coming in here. All right, great. Okay, we understand it has been rectified now. So, Tony, change of date, change of venue. What went into this decision?
Thank you very much. Good morning to our viewers. It is just to take away the risk of traveling and make sure that these candidates are safe in their various schools and write the exams there. There is no need in this day of age traveling from one location to the other to go take an exam. You will recall that in the past, before 2024, students were writing the exams in the various schools until a decision was taken last year for them to go to a centralized place to do this exam. And we thought, the Honorable Minister thought that this is not the best, and whatever logistic challenge or resources that were needed to decentralize the exam, is ready to provide it. And for that reason, yesterday at the stakeholders meeting, they gave the directive that this should be reversed to the various schools.
But why did it have to take this long? Because it almost looks like, because there were a few days for them to write the exams, I think about 2 weeks or so, and you now brought the decision. And some of them said, well, we had prepared and looking forward to it, and now we need to readjust. Why did it come this late?
Better late than never. However, we don't set the exam. This is done by the regulator, Nursing and Midwifery Council, and then when we got hint of it, when some complaints came to the ministry, he quickly intervened and asked that the date be shifted to 4th September whilst we work on these fine details regarding the decentralization of the
Interesting. And just in a related development, though, yesterday we know that the minister addressed the press on the incident at the Ridge Hospital. And the question, and we got a hint that there have been some arrests and, etc. Can you clarify, have there indeed been an arrest, and what is the latest as far as that incident is concerned?
Yeah, thank you. Yesterday, the Honorable Minister gave an update regarding the incident that took place at the Ridge Hospital, and also told the media that the police had arrested one person who is connected to this unfortunate incident at the Ridge Hospital. And we believe that the police are currently doing their investigation. Today, the committee put together will submit their draft or initial reports to the Honorable Minister for review. So that is where we are.
Have you had the benefit? Because we saw excerpts of the CCTV footage in the Ridge Hospital. Have you and the minister had the benefit of reviewing the footage? And can you confirm, indeed, the assault that was reported?
This whole thing has two legs, the criminal aspect of it and then the administrative aspect of it. The criminal aspect is being dealt with by the police, and then we are looking at forestalling some of the future occurrences of some of those things. And for that reason, that is the administrative aspect. Thankfully, I'm a member of that committee looking into the matter, and we've received several videos, including the footages you are talking about. The various parties who actually appeared before the committee have submitted these videos and have been reviewed by the committee.
Okay, interesting. Well, we just want to know, you said that the report will be presented today, right?
Yeah, draft report will be given to Minister.
Yeah. I'm just curious what the report is just on the incident, or you are looking beyond the incident, because there are concerns that were raised about the waiting time that people sometimes endure when they go to the hospital, and there have been questions about the manner in which they are received.
The report is looking at. Yeah, the report is looking at what happened, the security arrangement at the time, and then what actually brought about the delay. If there was a delay at all, what actually necessitated that delay, and other aspects. So the committee has actually looked at all of this, including some aspects of the criminal investigation that is currently ongoing, just to look at how best we can deal with it when going forward. The footages we have seen has some issues regarding beating. There's some destruction of an environment, and it's being looked at by an expert who is part of the committee.
Okay.
Well, okay, Mr. Tony Goodman, thank you very much for joining us to have this conversation.
Yeah, but Tony, before you go, briefly, in relation to the licensure exam, since it's been postponed to the 4th of September, is there an assurance that afterwards, moving forward, there is not going to be such incidences like this in relation to the licensure?
I can say, by the grace of God, the Honorable Minister for Health, Honorable Kwame Asah-Asante, has healed that process by making sure that we don't have a centralized exam. So I'm sure this healing is a permanent healing.
Okay.
And then we won't have any changes in the future.
Okay. That's a good thing, and we're glad to hear. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right.
You know,
so, that was
I think,
good.
I think nurses are one of the amazing people. Some of them, nurse ideally, and based on the nurses I've interacted with them, they are one of the very amazing people. They're the first point of call, and if you look at the conditions under which some of them work, the condition under which they work, and still able to do what they do, I think a lot of credit needs to be given them. They don't get enough credit, and explains why a number of them are looking to leave the country. You know, it's small opportunity.
Who doesn't want to? At the end of the day, who doesn't want to?
Because they are going through a lot.
Yeah.
Going through a lot. Because,
earlier I was telling you something. That when you go outside of the country, a number of them are looking forward to live in their country, to establish themselves in African countries. Yeah. Because they believe that in Africa, it is easier to live here than overseas.
You go there.
Weird.
I have a colleague in UK who is a nurse, and she deals with maximum 4 patients a day.
Right.
Here, 20, 15. Yeah. So much, they're under so much pressure. Yeah. And sometimes some of the patients also want to be attended to immediately. And when that happens, you put the patient under a lot of pressure. So
that's true.
It's quite unfortunate what happened at the Ridge Hospital, but you're happy that the reports, and hopefully the reports will be made public and we'll get to know the details of it. And this matter, people will not be allowed to go scot-free. You don't assault somebody and go scot-free.
Very, very necessary. Yeah. And that's it for News Flash today.